Today, we're getting organized. This is my beauty basket. It's become a sort of catch-all for all of my skincare, my makeup, and elf ears. More on that later. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I made this makeup bag that has a little pocket on the back to organize all my makeup. So first I started off with a scrap piece of fabric, which was around 13 by 19 inches, and I folded that in half. I cut out a square that's 2 by 2 inches. I did this for a lining piece, an interface piece, and a quilt batting piece. For the boring parts, off camera, I fused the interfacing to the wrong side of the main fabric piece and quilted it onto the batting with a simple vertical stitch, and I just created a triangle pattern. I cut out another piece of fabric that was a little bit smaller than the bag to be the back pocket lining. On this piece, I marked a rectangle to indicate where the zippers would go and create those cut lines. To install the back zipper, I lined up the center of both the pocket and the body piece and sew right along the zipper indication line that I had marked out. Then I cut through all the layers of fabric along those lines and flipped the fabric through the hole and pressed with an iron to create a clear window for the zipper. I then sewed around the zipper to secure it in place, and then sew along the pocket piece to make the actual pocket. For the zipper, I placed it right side down onto the body piece, then placed the lining fabric on top. The right sides should be facing each other. Since it's all in one piece, the bottom of both fabrics will meet the other side of the zipper to create the back side of the bag. I fold each piece onto itself with right sides together, matching them up with the other side of the zipper. Once the other side of the zipper is sewn, pull them apart so that the body fabric and the lining are on either side of each other, and sew up the sides, making sure to leave a space open so it can be flipped inside out. At this point, if you're making this, remember to unzip the zipper so that you can easily flip the bag inside out. I forgot to do this, and it was a challenge for me to try to wiggle out the zipper. Then to create the corners, pull the fabric apart like this and sew along that line so that everything is closed. Flip it inside out and sew up the opening from the lining, and that's how I made my makeup bag. So now I'm going to try something a little new for my channel, and I'm going to show you how I do my makeup. I don't wear makeup every day, but when I do, this is sort of the routine that I go with. So after my skincare routine, I put on sunscreen and a primer. I don't like the feeling of makeup on my face, so my routine tends to be very light. I use a tinted foundation stick just to even out my skin tone. And then I go in with a bit of concealer. Again, I try to be very light with it because it can get pretty cakey. I'm not sure how effective this is, but I do use a little bit of contour. For me, I love blush, so I use two of them. I use one liquid and one powder. I use a setting powder to lightly dust under my eyes and any shiny parts on my face. I also use setting spray after this step. Once my face is dry, I'll go in with a powder blush. For my brows, I just use a hair gel to keep it all down. Then, using a thin brown liner, I do my wings. I just do like a little flick. I also use a brown liner because I feel like it's more subtle and not as harsh as a black liner would be. Usually I'll keep it like that, but if I'm feeling a little extra, I'll do some liner under my eyes. Then, with a white eyeshadow stick, I'll dot the center of my waterline and then the inner corner of my eyes. I don't usually do this part, but for the video, I just did it. I curl my eyelashes and use a mascara base and mascara. And that completes the eyes. This is my favorite part. I love lip tints. I use 3 different kinds on top of each other. First, I'll go in with this lighter lip tint, and then lately, because it makes me feel like a vampire, I use this Benefit lip stain. Sometimes I'll leave it at that, but other times I'll just top it off with a lip gloss, which this used to be clear. And then with a final coat of setting spray, that completes my makeup routine. Whew, okay, now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna talk about the most important thing to me right now, which is Merlin. My last video, I talked about how I started Merlin, and right now I am on season 3. They sprinkled in Arthur and Gwen's relationship a little bit in season 1, but by season 2, the yearning is at full force. Sorry, I was Stop. See, I am like smiling to myself. That's crazy. I haven't yearned this hard over a show that wasn't an Asian drama. I feel like a lot of Asian dramas just nail yearning, especially period dramas. That's definitely one of my favorites. I can't even describe to you what all is happening because there's just too much. The formula of the show is someone's trying to kill Arthur or King Uther. Merlin wants to use his magic to help out and then makes it worse for everyone. Something about the way that the show looks makes it feel so cozy. It's definitely become a comfort watch for me. I just like the way that it looks. And I feel like the bar is definitely on the floor when it comes to that because Netflix lighting is so bad. I want to retract what I said about the CGI. I grew up watching a lot of Thai fantasy dramas, so compared to those, I think Merlin is fine. King Uther is still a bitch to me and he always will be a bitch. It's like all this trouble for him, like who cares? Just get Arthur on the throne already. I'm also not even gonna discuss whatever the fuck Morgana is up to because whatever she's doing is very wrong. But it's funny. That's pretty much all I have to talk about. Speaking of my makeup basket being a catch-all for things, I have these sunglasses in there for some reason. I'm very sensitive to light, not beating the vampire allegations for sure. As far as sunglass styles go, I've been really into this sort of like 90s style sunglasses with thin frames and oval lenses. Faye Wong, she's to blame for my obsession. She's definitely one of my style inspirations and the reason why I got a pixie cut a few years ago. I just think she's so beautiful and I want to look like her. Oh yeah, about the elf ears.